of asking whether you are understanding. My intention is to close the topics and give you the idea of at least progressing and closing from your side also, right? Otherwise, we will be not be able to close at all, guys. Then how you will take the test and all? That's why I want to close the topics. See, you might be thinking, Ravi, this is like a very professional. You are talking like you professional in the sense simply you want to finish your work like that. We are feeling no, guys. My intention is to close on time. Yes, of course, here and there some little bit faster, slower, everything would have happened. We cannot help it, no, because of the time. So understand. Web API client, I will write the code and show you how to invoke the URL. So meanwhile, before we invoke anything, you should read about something. What is a URL? URL is what is that? URI. See, guys, look at this picture. Because you people have been all this time from your academics, from the day one, we keep on telling URL, URL, URL. See, it should not be like that. Technically, you now are computer science. Look at this picture. A URL is an instance of a URI. See? URI is the outer circle. URL is just one instance of a URI. You should not be telling URL, it is an instance of URI. What is URI? I was showing you. What is URI? Uniform Resource Identifier. URL is one instance of one identifier. One URI, if I say URI, there can be multiple URLs in an URI. One URI can contain multiple URLs. That's the hierarchy. We thought everything is URL. No. URI is the parent of URL, kind of. You can see from the picture. A URI can contain multiple URLs. This is just one instance. Like this one, you can see. Good example. Two URLs are there. See? Only one URL. You see the hierarchy here also very nicely shown. Some website picture. Okay. Look at this. If I zoom it, a URL is an instance of URI. Okay. So if someone is telling URL, no. When you are in the real enterprise world, it will pinch you. URL, is it one instance of one instance? Only one URL is there? Like that you will start asking. If you say only one URL is there, then the other person will ask, are you mad or something? What do you mean by only one URL is there? Now you know now why I am asking that. I am asking because I am going to the parent and asking you that question. Is there only one URL? Because what are the identifier? URI is an identifier, universal resource identifier, and then only one locator in that identifier, one locator. One location in the area. There can be multiple locations, no, in that area. In your area, there can be 100 locations. This is the area. This is one location. Guys, internet technology is not what it should be like. Generally, people speak whatever. You should dig into that. Okay. Now we want. Okay, this is done. So our HTTP, I mean to say that URL which contains one URL we want to invoke. Now, when I want to invoke, I'll give you some fundamental, guys. I know it is 5:30, but let's close this, guys, logically. Otherwise, it makes no sense. You'll lose it. All this discussion. I'll leave the jQuery out today, guys. Now, when I want to invoke, what was the URL we were using? Tell me the sample URL, guys. Tell me the sample URL, how it looked like. URL I'm using for discussion purpose. URI is one URL of URI. Yeah, how the sample?
HTTP API.
Some HTTP localhost.
Yeah.
Some protocol. Some port number / API controller name. Right. Now I'll tell you. This happens to be my base address. Whenever I want to reach anything, this is my base address for my web API. You agree? In this, but Ravi, this is not the actual complete address, no? There is controller. Can I say controller can change? If there are multiple controllers, this particular URL will change, no? You agree? There are two controllers within the same application. Can I say this is constant irrespective of whichever controller? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So this can change. This is constant. So let's consider what is constant as what? What is base address?
Base address.
See the words which I am introducing, register in your mind. I said welcome to application development. People will talk this language only, guys. You will have to ask what is the base address. We will say the other developer will be in synchronization with you if you talk in this language. If you say tell me the URL, what he will tell? Correct? You tell me? He's going to tell like this, no? You agree? You will not know this, right? The developer will say URL, one example he'll tell. Okay, HTTP localhost 1234 API, customer API is an URL, he will say. Now you are asking, tell me the URI boss, what is the base address? See that word? When I want to invoke, I will segregate these two separately, guys. So when you are building the code, you should have given an option, whichever controller from this base address, I should be able to invoke. Google.com. Google says google.com is our base address. What do you want to invoke? They will ask. See, that is how the technology works. Okay, let's do this. So, remember that. Ravi, that is okay. That is example discussion. But how do I know base address of my web API? Whatever we did now. What is the base address? Tell me in this. What is the base address? Till API. Correct. But Ravi, this is already known. But for an existing application, how can I come to know? This is already known to us because you are demonstrating. Can you show where we will get the base address? So let's go and see where is the base address for where is our application. This is the one. Huh? Okay, this is the one looks like. Hold on. Yeah. So where is the base address? So what you do is, if I go to the web application, which is the web API, right click, guys. This is the web API. I'm right clicking properties. All of you are able to see the properties now on the left on the screen. All of you are able to see properties coming up. Correct? For the web API project, I am looking at the properties.
Yeah, Ravi.
If I see on the left hand side what I'm going to select, tell me what I selected on the left hand side.
Web. Web.
Web. Okay. And then I'll show you one section. After selecting the web, I'll show you one section. See, post the URL. API will not be there. It will show the URL. To that, you need to append API and make it as a base address. This is how you get the API URL. Base URL. URI. Base URL. URI is no one uses that word, so let's not use that. We know the URL. We need to append API to this. Let's do that. So let's start writing the code, client code now. Let's close this. Let's start writing the client code. So I'll go to the client controller. Now to invoke the URL, little complicated code, guys. Okay, so don't get overwhelmed by this. Using, because I need to invoke HTTP call, I'm going to use that package which I integrated. The namespace which is provided by that package is system.net.http. So I can invoke HTTP URLs. And it provides one class called as HTTP client. So I'm going to write one method, public action result get data, something like this. Simply I'm writing an action method. Now I want to invoke the that particular web API. So this system.net.http provides one client which can help me invoke the URL. So I'm going to write HTTP client is equal to, like a normal class, you are going to create that. Now, tell me if it makes sense when I write. Makes sense? The client should invoke this as the base address.
Yes, Ravi.
Now, inside this base address, particular controller has to be invoked. Which method we want to invoke, guys? What type of method we are learning?
Get method.
We want to invoke get method. How to invoke? Let's see. So I'm going to invoke HTTP client get. But Ravi, it is not reading as get. It reads something else here. What is the help? Read the help, guys.
Send a get request to the specified URI as an asynchronous.
That means asynchronously, it's going to do a parallel call. Your application will do a parallel call. That is the beauty of it. It will do a parallel call to that URI. Okay. So which URI it will ask? See, I'll say in this my URI is customer API. Call that with the get method. Call the get method inside that. Because I am not sending any parameter which API will be called. I am not sending any parameter now. Which one will be called? Which get method will be called?
Customer info, first one.
First one. Okay. Because we are not setting any parameter. See, we need to append the parameter to this no slash something. So that is later you people try if you are interested. So when I make a call, get call, guys, this is a HTTP call which is happening. Now HTTP is so beautiful that it will tell you, hey, what happened with your call? It will tell you. So we can take that result. So I am going to take the result where, okay, so we will say result of this call. What happened with this call? Now it will tell you two things, guys. HTTP will tell you two things. Listen carefully. HTTP will tell you two things. One, what happened with the call? Call, what happened? Second, it will tell you if the call was successful, it will give you the content. What content was returned because of the call? Two things it will tell you. Status of the call and content. And many other parameters it will return. I am not telling that. Right now this is enough for you. Status of the call and the content. Both it will tell. Both it will give back. Hey, I made a get call. Status of the call is this and the content is this. It will tell. Okay, guys, it will take till 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 5 minutes max. That's it. Don't worry. I'm not going to go beyond that. So, status of the call and the content. Status of the call. Guys, have you come across anything called as 404 error? 404?
Yes, Ravi, many
You
times.
must, many times. Ravi, we always only receive 404. 404, what is that? Who said 404? You know who said 404? This guy said.
HTTP.
What is that called as? Status of the call. Let's see what are the different statuses available, Ravi? You might ask. 404 is one status you are talking as if. So let's see what are the different statuses. You are going to tell me, okay, HTTP status, HTTP response status codes. What are the? Now let's see where is 404. What is 404? All of you read what is 404 here. It says
Not found.
what is not found? Hey, you are trying to request a URL. I tried to reach the URL. I did not find it. I could not find anything there. Who told this? HTTP told. But if it is successful, so many status codes are there. You can go through if you are interested. See, look at this, guys. I am highlighting. What will be the status code when it is everything is okay?
200.
200. Request has succeeded and something has come back. Shall we see who returned what? What status was returned in the postman?
200, okay.
Everything is like a metal chain, guys. It is linked. Everything is linked. It is like a metal chain linked to each other. It saw 200 okay and gave me the response. See, it has given both status and the data. Now, if my call was successful or not, I can verify first. I need to first verify if my call is successful or not. So I will do that. I'm going to verify if the result was successful or not. So I'm going to take the, okay, let's call it as call. Instead of calling it as a result, let's call it as call. Get call or get call, let's call it as. Okay. and let's see the result of the get call. So we will say where, okay, result is equal to get call result. What is the result of this call? We'll see. The result will contain two things. I told you what are the two things it will contain?
Status of the call and content.
Content. If the status is okay, means which number it is checking?
200.
200. So let's check that if the status is okay. If result is, look at the parameter guys, it will check for what number? This is a inbuilt in .NET.
200.
Is success status code. We want to read the data, correct? If this is the case, we want to read the content, no? Okay. So we will declare one string variable and keep it ready. String data equals string.empty. I'll keep it ready like this. Empty string, I will keep it. Keep it ready for taking the data, string data. So I will say data equals, we will pick up that result, content, give me the content, to do it faster because it is rebooting. Content, guys, think as if you are reading a file. You want to read the content. So read the content. What type of content are you getting? It is going to ask me. What type of content are we getting? Tell me fast, it will reboot my laptop. What type of content are we getting from the API? XML or string? String parameter is coming back, no?
String.
String, right? Type of, what is the data type, guys? String we are going to get. That's what we are telling. Okay. Then result, give me the result in string format. This is the type of content we are getting. Read the content in string format. Take from the result, irrespective of, make it as a string and give it into the data. Give it into the data. Now I will say return. Guys, you know this call? Anyone remembers this return type? All of you remember this return type, no? Result type, guys. Content result. Forgotten. Sir, that's it. Nothing else. Okay. Now, we have now written the code. To invoke the URL, which method we need to call, guys?
Get data.
From our client. We need to invoke this action method. Some noise is there, I'm sorry. If you are you hearing a lot of disturbance, guys?
No, Ravi.
Okay, because there is a noise cancellation in my headset. It will cancel, but even then I'm hearing a lot of noise, some construction work. So I will close this in another 5, as I told you, 5 minutes. So we have now prepared the code. Guys, remember, when my client has to invoke the web API, I mean to say, call the web API URL, my web API application also should be running parallelly. You agree? To respond?
Yes.
Both the projects should be running, right? So, how do you make both the projects running, Ravi? You can only make one project run from this solution at a point of time, and then internally it will invoke other projects. That's how it will work, right, in Visual Studio. But let's see, if I go to the solution, right click properties, tell me how many projects it can run at this point of time?
Single startup project.
What is one more choice?
Multiple startup project.
I'll start both of them parallelly. So that each can talk to each other. Say apply. Now let's invoke and call this get data and see what happens. Tell me which window, because two windows will come. One window which is for API, one window for client. Both are web applications only. One is API, one is client. Two windows will come. You identify which one is API, which one is client. Tell me guys, which one? I will switch and show you both. This is the first one. What is this? What do you think this is?
API.
This is API because you can see API here. Other one looks like this. This is familiar, no? You are familiar with this.
Yeah, Ravi.
This is your client. You agree?
Yes.
From
Yes,
the
Ravi.
client, we need to call the get data, no? That's where we are supposed to call. Okay. So what is the controller name, guys?
Client controller.
And get data. Makes sense? Tell me. URL. Correct?
Yes. Yeah, Ravi.
This will internally invoke the URL now to the web API. That is because you can see. Called. How many lines did I write? Hardly 10-15 lines from the client. API was invoked. My work is done. I got the result. I will display it to the user. I sent data. API processed it, gave me the result of it. I displayed it to the user. Then how do you think, guys, all these mobile app builders are building it so easily? Book My Show, all these people, how they are easily building applications? Ola, Uber. This is super relative architecture. This will be less number if you use REST sharp and all. Only 3 lines. Because this is this is a lengthy technique. I used HTTP client. This is lengthy. If you use some other third party, no, from which is not Microsoft, they have made it more simple. Only 3 lines you can call it off. My client is working like browser now. I have ideally built a browser. This is Web API. Super lightweight. Global, super lightweight, consumable, and it's a fantastic implementation. See, no dependencies. We did not do referencing. We did not do anything. We did not add this, add that, do this, copy that, paste this. Nothing. Invoke the URL, get the data, finished. on a clean sky day. You look at the sky, all the stars. I sometimes feel all these are services running in the sky. I can send the message and a service can respond. Like in the sky, you see the stars. That's how it is there now in the world. All the services like stars are sitting, and you